All right, man, I just came from a gym session and apparently I don't have any athletic prowess. I think I'm just strong. This is according to the people I've been training with. I'm just strong and rigid as bodybuilding training would do. But I mean, I did some kickboxing, I did some boot camp stuff, I did a lot of mobility like exercises, man. I think I'm pretty strong. Anyway, Somer del Piso back once again with another episode of Peruse in the News with Somer del Piso, the captain of the cruise. You fools, you fool. We're just gonna analyze the news as per usual, with our opinions on the article. So like, comment, subscribe. We're gonna get right into it. I sort of saved a couple good articles for you guys. So let's check them out. I found out on News Plus the option to add more various news sources. I just realized how to add more news sources to this application. I'm pathetic. I got some good stuff for you guys. Let's begin. The Times, the Sunday Times, the English paper. And this is written by Chris Smith with a Y. The name of the article is called Training Boot Camps for Unemployed to Help Them Fill Vacancies. Of course, I saved this through the strength of the title alone, because if you guys been watching my stuff on my channel, you already know how I feel about their excuses, the government's excuses and various corporations' excuses for not hiring people, through my opinion. So we're gonna read this, let's check it out. The unemployed will be sent to skills boot camps to train them to become waiters, carers, and delivery drivers under plans to use a hidden army of British workers to cut immigration. This is really interesting. It's like these jobs are very, very easy to do. When I first entered the workforce, I didn't have to go to some boot camp to learn how to be a waiter or a delivery driver, As long as, they hired you on the strength of, okay, you can memorize information well, you're able to communicate information well, and you generally look like a nice and well-cut person, right? Carers, I mean, it's the same thing, except you don't have to really memorize as much. Perhaps, the name of the person that you're directly caring for. And delivery drivers, as long as you have a license, a driver's license, you're good, right? You're not some crazy felon, right, that became a felon for doing a hit and run where you were the driver. This is silly. I think they need to have skills boot camps for coding, right, for free, subsidized by the government. They need to have skills boot camps for intellectual skills like, designing a website, learning how to do taxes. You need to make these things free and not allow this supremacy of these university businesses that basically operate as businesses, taking money from the public and teaching them nothing in return, honestly. If you have problems with filling up vacancies, which I don't think is true, they're only hiring from a specific type of person, then you need to provide the skills directly for the job. Let's continue. Promising a new economic model based on British talent, Stride will set out plans to work with businesses to identify the areas most short of workers and develop training programs to equip the unemployed to take up such jobs. At the end of the day, just take the person into the position. If they have promise, right? Everyone is not going to know when they're trying to get into a position or a job, everything that's required of them in the job. They'll just know some of those things on a basic level, on a standard level. Of course, every single position requires different responsibilities. If someone has promised, just take them in and then train them. It's better than trying to search forever for someone that's perfect, which will never be found, right? And then if they are found, you have to pay them way extra. It's just natural stuff. Common sense. Stride will say, who is Stride, by the way? I think I skipped. Mel Stride, the Work and Pension Secretary, will say he is worried by the rise in hidden unemployment in the economically inactive, people who are neither in work nor looking for work, citing the 7 million people who are not earning and not studying. Because I think a lot of people have realized, because I think most of that force, that 7 million in England, right? Because it's the same here in the US, but we're talking about England now. Most of these guys are men. And the thing is, a lot of these guys have dialed out because, first of all, there's this political narrative that says, oh, men are useless. Oh, we don't really need men anyway. And then on the flip side as well, more women are just getting hired for things anyway. Like they're staying in college more, like I said, getting selected for work more. They're on the way to earning more money. It's like guys we're just being made obsolete by a lot of the systems, a lot of the structures in place, the political structures in place. So it only makes sense that a lot of men are just sort of giving up. It's like, why am I even going to work for this system anyway? They don't like me. He will say, the stride again, he will say there are too many people in their prime missing out on the financial, social, and health benefits that we know work brings, promising to uncover and unleash Britain's hidden army of talent. Then hire these guys. Force corporations to hire these guys. I'm not saying that there should just be like some sort of mass hiring of just a whole bunch of individuals that don't necessarily have formal training or even promise to work those jobs. I'm just saying that there needs to be within corporations, because I had the same problem too here. I think that people that show promise, right? People that are eager to get work, people that can be taught, that has the aptitude for learning new things, they need to be brought into the companies, regardless of whatever the inner politics of those companies are. We understand that maybe women tend to share more, and which lends to a bit more of a comfortable work environment. But to discontinue this issue of not being able to utilize Britain's hidden talent, or the world's hidden talent, US's hidden talent as well, because like I said, the problem's here too. You need to just hire people with promise. These corporations are looking for the unicorns of the workforce, and it's just like, you're not gonna find it. Hire people. Seriously, don't be afraid to hire people. Seems like, let's see, last week Stride and Jeremy Hunt, the chancellor, insisted that there were ample opportunities for the unemployed to find work, and today will set out plans to help them, like into post-COVID reforms designed to deal with an acute shortage of HGV drivers. The new visa rules brought in by the Home Secretary will mean around 300,000 people who arrived last year would not be able to work under the new rules. I know this presents a recruitment challenge for some employers in certain sectors, particularly those that have relied more on migration in the past, Stride will say. So basically, I'm understanding something from this article. So this training, this formal training, is not necessarily for the people the citizens, right? The British citizens that don't have those skills to work. It's for the mass immigration that is, entering the country, and basically nationalizing them, institutionalizing these guys to be able to join the workforce. That's crazy. If you have a whole bunch of domestic talent, then train them. Have corporations hire from domestic talent. Why is it that we're constantly we're trying to extend our efforts to helping other places, other foreign powers, instead of just structuring and fortifying our own domestic talents? What is going? This is why this is nuts. This is nuts. I know that I'm not getting hired for corporation jobs because, who knows, maybe I'm a little too outspoken, maybe I'm just the way I am, maybe I just speak too well, maybe I carry myself too well, and they just don't want someone like me in the workforce lest I become a seed or plant a seed of rebellion or some sort of discord within the employees of whatever corporation I get hired for. But I still think that formal training should be given to domestic talent before foreign talent first. We are not obligated to help other countries before our own. Help the domestic talent first. Afterwards, whoever else needs help, sure, we'll help you with whatever's left over, because those other countries are supposed to be helping themselves. Granted, there probably are like some sort of regulations for dealing with those countries which cause those other foreign powers to be poorer than other countries, which basically constitutes of a mass migration from people from those foreign powers into much more developed nations. But a lot of things need to be changed on a higher level for fairness to be applied. This is my personal opinion. So to be honest, that's it for this article. Interesting stuff. There's a lot of people that are here in the US that don't have work. I would be so pissed and even be more disheartened if the government is actively subsidizing the training of another person, a different type of person, just because they're foreign, instead of just helping out someone that's actually from the country. It's just, this is silly. Okay, if you want to know something even more silly, look at this dumb article, right? National Geographic. I saw this last night. I skimmed through it, and I was like, this is perfect to talk to you guys about. Look what's happening to our society. Not only we're a society that thrives on loneliness, right, and separation and clicks, right? But they're trying to, with these articles, with social media, to drive a further fissure between people that are actually in love and actually are thinking about staying together. This is crazy. Let's check this out. Article written by Claire Terrell from the National Geographic. Title is, Should Couples Normalize Sleeping in Separate Beds? Like, what kind of silliness? What? Like, come on. Why would you want to sleep in separate beds? There's a lot of chemicals that's produced when, post-coitus, right? Look that up for the people that don't know what that means. Post-fornication, essentially. That sort of serve as bonding chemicals for each other, for both people that are in our couples. When people sleep together, I'm sure that hormone is released as well, just to increase that bonding. What this is just, this article is just trying to validate, oh, you know what? You deserve your space because you are an individual that doesn't need to necessarily be around their partner 24/7. So sure, if you had a hard day at work, you were harassed by the male boss, then sure, you should sleep in a separate bed from your male partner. Of course, because I'm sure she's gonna be talking to females with this one. Let's read what Claire has to say. New research from the American Academy of Sleep Medicine reveals that more than a third of Americans choose to sleep divorced. And then we have a term for it as well, further normalizing this silly behavior. Choosing to sleep divorce their partners, reflecting a growing trend among couples, including celebrities as Cameron Diaz and Carson Daly, to prioritize sleep quality. Cameron Diaz, she's been around for a long time, so she definitely knows a thing or two about sleeping in separate beds. Let's listen to what she has to say, or let's mimic what she's saying. We've been conned. Look at a guy said this. We've been conned by the idea we should sleep together if we're in a relationship, says Neil Stanley, co-author of a book called A Sleep Divorce, How to Sleep Apart, Not Fall Apart. Sleep divorce, look, and it's not in quotation marks now, normalizing this stupid phrase. Sleep divorce involves couples sleeping in separate beds or bedrooms to improve sleep quality. This practice helps avoid common sleep disturbances like snoring, insomnia, differing sleep schedules, and restlessness, which can lead to fatigue and relationship tension. Here's what you need to know about the trend and its potential benefits for your health. So guys, my opinion, Sombra's opinion, if you're not on semen retention, which is very unfortunate for you, and you have a partner, a female partner, sleep with her, please. Do not think that you're gonna have better sleep by sleeping on a separate bed. If you have snoring, if you have insomnia, sleeping on a separate bed is not gonna suddenly solve that issue. That has to do with something else that you need to figure out. You need to pinpoint the source of and figure it out and solve it. I don't think that sleeping away, like in a separate bed, right, is going to miraculously heal all of your sleep issues. That's something to do with you. Look at this silly man validating this thing by bringing in old example, like classic examples. All right, so the fall and rise of separate beds. In ancient Rome, which was, by the way, a community of a lot of degeneracy, right? The concept of the marital bed, known as lectus genialis, was both practical and symbolic. Roman couples often used one bed for intimate conversations and physical intimacy, making it a private space within the home. It was not unusual for them to retire to separate beds when it was time to sleep. Like I said, Rome was a society full of degeneracy, full of a lot of licentious behavior. Senators were sleeping with children, and it was cool. Young people were sleeping with older people, with young adults. It was a complete culture of degeneracy. The fact that we're even quoting or just referencing this society, this old society, is silly to me. These are the new experts, guys. These are the people that we need to be listening to. However, during the medieval period, the concept of a dedicated marital bed was less distinct due to the communal nature of living spaces. More impoverished families often shared one bed or sleeping area near a heat source, while wealthier families could claim individual rooms since they lived in larger homes. And most of the media that we consume that display wealthy families, a lot of them have one bed that the partners share, the couple shares. This is so silly. If you guys are reading this article and actually believing that sleeping in a separate bed from your partner was gonna lead to some sort of better wellness, that means you gotta check your actual relationship with your partner. Maybe there's something wrong, right? Maybe you actually need to separate from that person. I'm a big fan when I was, sleeping with people, of sleeping literally with the person, next to the person, right? Because it's just something we do. I didn't feel like I would sleep better in a separate bed or anything. It was just something I did, and I felt great in the morning, waking up next to the person, morning breath and all. Tips to navigate a sleep divorce. Some couples find that sharing a bed enhances their emotional connection and intimacy. For others, not so much. By the way, whenever they bring out these articles like, this is a problem, or this is a growing issue, or this is something, these guys bring up empirical statistics, right, of a minority, a very, very small minority that expresses this discontent with whatever they're arguing against. And they show the growth rate, which is a small incremental increase annually, yearly. And then they create this whole codswallop article about how, people need to start sleep divorcing more. It's like, there's a majority of people are gonna sleep with their partners, literally, in the same bed, and they're gonna continue doing that. Stop listening to these silly articles, these silly people talking about stuff. Sleep psychologist Dan Ford, the clinical director of the Better Sleep Clinic in New Zealand. They're so bored over there that they had to create, they had to create a couple of jobs trying to get people to divorce, essentially, through sleep divorcing. It says there are an array of reasons couples might feel more comfortable sleeping alone. Your partner could snore, or they could suffer, as 1 in 10 people do. Like I said, it's a minority, a very, very small group of people that suffer from these things, from chronic insomnia. Chronic insomnia. So that's natural. That's when something is chronic, that means it's just in you. It's very, very hard to solve those issues, if not impossible. So separating from your partner is not gonna do this. It's not gonna solve anything. Some couples have very different body clocks leading to different sleep timing preferences, so they find it easier to sleep in separate beds rather than disturb one another, Ford says. But if you have chronic insomnia, sleeping in a different bed is not gonna solve your insomnia. A study from the University of Michigan found that sharing a bed could compromise sleep quality, potentially straining relationships. Researchers at the University of California, Berkeley found that following a poor night's sleep, couples will experience more fights. Naturally so, right? So what this is, guys, listen, we already spoke about this in the last Peruse the News video, where a lot of people are experiencing anxieties, and it's just hard for me to talk to people in real life because, I heard that people that look like this act a certain way, so I really don't want to talk to people like that. And it's like, guys, if you have sleep issues, pinpoint what the problems are in your life that's leading to those sleep issues and try to resolve them. If you have intimacy issues, which is sort of unrelated, find out what's the source of those intimacy issues and fix those problems. If you are afraid of talking to people, if you are having these preconceived notions about the individuals around you and you're afraid to talk to them, find out why that is so and solve those problems. Stop listening to these silly idiots that are writing these articles that are passing off as experts, that are telling us to sleep divorce and continue ignoring people. And the reason why people are just feeling more lonely than ever is because of some disparate reason, as opposed to something very, very simple, which is we just do not want to put in the work anymore to express ourselves because we are afraid of possible humiliation. Let's just say it like that, right? So that's that for that silly, absolutely idiotic National Geographic article. I got a good article right here. Look at this. So this is by Eyewitness News, ABC 7, Eyewitness News, written by a Jim Dolan has the story. Newark 17-year-old earns high school diploma and a 2-year college associate's degree. Power to this kid. At the end of the day, like I said in another Peruse the News, I'm not, throwing shade on this person or being negative, but if those gatekeepers don't like the way that this person looks or the way that this person acts or feels like, and this person doesn't necessarily feel inclined to be lonely. This person's a little outgoing. I don't know if they'll be able to join our group of employees here, a little work team. You're not getting hired. It doesn't matter if you are 15 years old with a bachelor's degree, right? You're not gonna get hired if the gatekeepers don't like you. Let's read on. So the kid's name is Adrian Ota, and he has spent a lot of time at the computer, not playing video games. At 17 years old, he has earned a high school diploma and a 2-year associate's degree in college at the same time. I heard this is a thing. A lot of AP students in school, they're sort of motivated and pushed to do a couple of college classes and gain a couple college credits as a preemptive step into getting into college and getting credits and graduating a little earlier. My true motivation was my parents, my immigrant parents. I know they didn't have the opportunity to do this, so when I had the opportunity, I just took it and ran with it, Ada says. Because I think Ada is of the mindset, of course, as with most immigrant parents, of the hallowing and the sacrosanct nature of the American dream. If you go to school, you study, you stay away from bad stuff, drugs, gang violence, stealing and all that bad stuff and crime, and really hit the books and stay focused, you'll be able to achieve the American dream and get married and be able to possibly buy a house, you know, in the US, even though a lot of statistics are proving that this is impossible. This is not even possible right now. Things are just way too expensive and jobs are just way too scarce. Or they're not necessarily scarce, it's just that employers are hiring a specific type of individual. This is just the truth. This is just the long, the tall, the short of it. I am a victim of this whole thing. Still happy though, still happy. Ada's parents moved to New Jersey from Nigeria. Nigeria, stand up. A few years before he was born. They moved here for the same reason so many still come. American dream, I just said this, guys, for greener pastures. I heard you could live your dream. I said, okay, so let me go see that dream, says Ada's mother, Miriam Watson. And boy, was Miriam surprised, most definitely. The fact that she's living in New Jersey, where the cost of living is way lower than New York, is definitely testament to that. But I'm sure she's realized that it's probably not very, very worth it living in this country with all the problems. There's a lot of racial discrimination. There's a huge problem of loneliness. People are not very, very nice. People judge. Employers hire only a specific type of individual, right, that carries themselves a certain way. It doesn't matter if you try to fit in with that archetype, you're probably not still gonna get hired. She probably realized a lot of these things, and but the thing is, she's all in with Adrian, her son, so she's sticking to it. Ada goes to University High School in Newark, and they offer a program where college professors come to the school and teach college level courses for a few students, you know, the special smart students that show promise. Ada earned 60 college credits in that program after countless endless days. He says college classes are harder, but not too hard for him. Because at the end of the day, like a lot of the classes, so I went to a writing intensive high school. It was this high school in Manhattan, near the Lower East Side. And they taught us a lot about writing, you know, paragraphs and writing essays. How to write an essay. You have a thesis statement, you have 3 assertions. At the end of each assertion, you know, 1 and 2, you make a transition statement to the next assertion, and then you have a recapitulation at the end of the assertion 3. And then you have a conclusion, which is the summation of everything. And in college, when I had my literature classes, they didn't even teach any of this stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like, they just expected us to be able to write essays. And then, of course, the topics that we're writing about are some silly, super theoretical things that one will never use in the real world, and none will actually remember after college due to the impracticality of that knowledge. College is easy, guys. It only requires a lot of dedication to sit down and learn a lot of trivial information. At the end of the day, with all of these accolades, I'm not throwing any shade to Adrian. If these gatekeepers don't like you, you are not getting hired. They will not accept you into their life. And even if you get hired, a lot of these people that get hired, mostly women, a lot of them are in a whole bunch of debt because they believe that they're living this very, very independent lifestyle with the jobs that they have. And then they spend outside of their means buying Longchamp bags and buying a lot of Estee Lauder perfumes. And like I said, I am a victim of believing the American dream. I thought that going to college and being good at work, working above and beyond, will get me rich. But at the end of the day, well, not rich necessarily, because I wasn't really chasing riches. I just wanted to chase like a sort of stable life. Maybe I'll have an American wife, and maybe I'll have my own apartment, and I'll be able to go to Mets and Knicks games whenever I please, right? But in actuality, that has gotten me nowhere. I have 2 degrees. I have a tech certification that I really bust my butt for, right? And I still have nothing. I'm not invited into the clubhouse. The gatekeepers refuse me at every single turn, right? As Rolf would say in Ed, Edd n Eddy. So my plan is to utilize my skills and talents, screw the American dream, and try to enlighten people who still believe in that nonsense, that bollocks. And I'm trying to get out of here. I'm trying to go to South America, back to South America. Beautiful way of life. I learned way more in the few months that I stayed in South America than I did in this accursed nation. So with that being said, find your life, guys. Find your true north and hightail towards it. Utilize the things that America affords you, you know, going online and being able to do online courses. The jobs here, you know, the very, very basic entry-level jobs like being a waiter, working in a supermarket, being a cashier, being a barista. Use that to obtain American dollars. Be sober. be on SEMA retention, save some money, get some skills, and get the hell out of this horrible country. And with that being said, Sombre del Piso gone. If you like that content, like, comment, subscribe, share the video with some peers. Don't let this place get you down. The American dream, we already know it's a lie, or it's not necessarily a lie. It's a lie to us majority, but for the minority, it is not. It is the apple of the eye, the diamond in the sky. We have a lot of belief systems sort of trying to keep us down, right? Keep us from truly living out our lives. The idea of anxiety, you know, and people just not talking to each other and whatnot. Live your life, my friends, and do not be afraid of expressing yourself completely. And stay radiant. I'll see you guys in the next one. Woo!